Welcome back, our devoted listeners, to everyone's favorite program, From Where We Are. Stories of news and culture through the lens of USC in Southern California. I'm Spencer Klein, coming to you live from Studio B in USC's Annenberg Media Center.
And I'm Hannah Abual-Hodge. It's Wednesday, April 12th. On today's show, the future of abortion access across the nation just got a bit more complicated. And it's the return of the spring stench on campus. Yuck. We'll have more about the infamous tree that makes things a little bit stinky each spring.
The Lakers just won the play-in game against the Minnesota Timberwolves last night. Confused? I'll explain how the play-in works and why it matters. Stick around because there's all that and more on From Where We Are.
And now to you, Zane.
A news-heavy day today. Does your Twitter look weird? It might begin to if you follow NPR. Why? Because NPR tweets are about to disappear. Yes, that's right. NPR announced earlier today that it will be quitting Twitter, making it one of the first major news outlets to do so. NPR's 52 official Twitter feeds will stay in place, but no new content will be posted. Last week, Twitter temporarily designated NPR as a state-affiliated media, a controversial description that was seen by some as an attempt to discount the nonprofit news outlet. Speaking of big news, e-cigarette company Juul Labs pays a big settlement in vaping-related charges. The company paying a whopping $462 million to 6 states and the District of Columbia in the largest multi-state settlement. Juul is accused of contributing to the rise of vaping among youth. The settlement will force retailers to secure Juul products behind counters and verify the age of purchasers. And out of Indiana, an industrial fire that broke out in Richmond on Monday continues to burn. Richmond's mayor said the fire occurred at a former plastics factory that had been deemed unsafe. Hundreds of people have been evacuated. And in other fire news, another fire festival is happening, according to con artist and convicted felon Billy McFarland. The catch? The first one never happened. McFarland was released from federal prison in 2022 after serving 4 years. He was serving time for defrauding investors and scamming ticket buyers. He was fined $26 million, but has vowed to find a way to pay the investors he owes. That way seems to be by having another festival, a sequel to a prequel that never launched. So we've all heard of the phrase, "Who let the dogs out?"
Who? Oh, yep.
Well, we've heard the phrase, but what about who let the bears out? Yes, wild bears on the loose. The number of bear sightings and break-ins in Sierra Madre have increased in Sierra Madre, leaving residents on edge and fearful that it's only a matter of time till the encounters become deadly. The city council is considering a resolution to get the California Department of Fish and Wildlife to enhance its policies to better manage the bear population among the foothill communities. And finally, the song we hear at every party. Gasolina becomes the first reggaeton hit to be inducted into the National Recording Registry. Daddy Yankee's 2004 mega hit is now officially a piece of American history after the Congressional Hispanic Caucus lobbied to include it. The registry seeks to preserve recordings that have cultural, historic, and aesthetic significance to life in the U.S. Gasolina joins the ranks of songs such as Bohemian Rhapsody by Freddie Mercury and Imagine by John Lennon. And those were some of our top headlines. Back to you two.
It's great. Thank you, Zane.
On Monday, a Texas federal judge ruled that the abortion pill mifepristone undercuts FDA regulations and will potentially head to the Supreme Court next to determine the pill's fate. Gabby Medina has the story.
The pill, which was originally approved in 2000, blocks a hormone needed for a pregnancy to continue and is meant for usage through 10 weeks gestation. Following the Texas ruling, an appeal will likely be brought up to the next court level.
the FDA and the Biden administration representing the FDA is probably going to appeal this case to the Fifth Circuit, which is the next level Circuit Court of Appeals. That court will then have the opportunity to rule, and they could decide to stay the decision while they decide. So it could be possible that they agree to take this case and nothing changes for even longer.
That was Catherine Cohen, a scholar of law and policy with the Center on Reproductive Health, Law, and Policy. While it's possible that the ruling could be brought up all the way to the Supreme Court, Cohen says the decision is unlikely to be made anytime soon.
And folks are already talking about this being appealed potentially up to the Supreme Court. Typically that process takes several years, but the court could choose to kind of expedite that review, take the case without full briefing. But it would still take, several weeks, if not months, for us to see something from the Supreme Court.
The decision is likely to be appealed, but Planned Parenthood Public Affairs and Community Relations Manager Claudia Powell guarantees that women can still find help in Los Angeles.
We're in the process of, figuring out everything, but in the meantime, we're here to serve the community with the services that they need, abortion services, and all the options that women have.
The drug isn't just prescribed by OBGYNs for terminating early pregnancies, but also to make second trimester surgical procedures safer. With such an important drug on the line, Planned Parenthood is mobilizing authorities in Los Angeles to make sure women still have access to abortion care.
We got a commitment this morning with the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass. She was here with our press conference, as well as Board of Supervisor Holly Mitchell and Lindsay Harbour. So, it's incredible, this commitment of people that are in public services, that they know that women can make a decision when it comes to their body, and we don't need anyone else make the decision for us.
The Texas judge's decision doesn't just raise questions about abortion access, but also the FDA's authority at large. The ruling is sparking concerns among doctors and drug makers because of the idea that judges might now be emboldened to strike down longtime FDA-approved drugs that have been proven safe and effective for years. For Annenberg Media, I'm Gabriela Medina.
One of the most notable broadcasting stations in the United States is leaving Twitter. NPR announced Wednesday morning that the nonprofit media organization and its 52 accounts will leave the app in reaction to the company being branded as government-funded media by Elon Musk. NPR called the label inaccurate and misleading and will move away from Twitter to avoid a, quote, shadow of negativity. Reporter Chris Bibana has the latest on the matter.
NPR and Twitter are at the point of no return in their relationship since Elon Musk took over the social media platform. Last week, the Big Blue Bird app decided to label NPR as state-affiliated media. The network took offense because that is the same description given to propaganda outlets belonging to nations like China and Russia on the app. After some serious backlash, NPR's label was revised to government-funded media, but the nonprofit was still not satisfied, citing that it receives less than 1% of its $300 million budget from federal agencies. NPR refused to be labeled as government-funded and made the decision to go silent on Twitter. NPR and their affiliate stations now plan to halt Twitter activity and redistribute their social media personnel in the next 2 weeks. Alexandra Applegate, a morning edition producer at the NPR-affiliated KCRW, spoke to Annenberg Media about the breakup.
Public radio stations really rely on our credibility, right? Like I said, our duty is to our listeners, and if they don't believe that we're credible or what we're saying is credible or the news that we're putting out there is credible, they think it's coming from the government or from some spokesperson rather than our reporting, then that's a problem. So I think the reasoning is more about wanting to protect the credibility of the journalism and the journalists that work here.
NPR will completely remove itself from Twitter in the next 2 weeks, the company said in a statement. For Annenberg Media, I'm Chris Babona.
Students, faculty, and staff gave back to the community 1 pint at a time. As Lorenzo Arce explains, the blood drive is an ongoing partnership between LifeStream Blood Bank and Keck Medicine of USC.
The red and white mobile donation bus was packed at the USC Village today. Dozens of students, faculty, and staff were laying on beds, arms strapped to plastic bags. They were all there to donate blood back to the Trojan community. USC sophomore Molly Holsinger was a donor.
I just feel like it's the right thing to do. It's a convenient opportunity on campus, and it's an easy way to give back to the community.
It's part of an effort by Livestream Blood Bank to collect donations for Keck Medicine. That includes Keck Hospital and USC Norris Comprehensive Cancer Center. Donors are treated to chips, cookies, and water afterward. They also received a digital gift card, but Molly says that didn't matter to her.
I feel like most people who are giving blood aren't doing it to get a gift card.
Livestream Blood Bank says every donation makes a difference, and they encourage you to donate. To find out if you're eligible, visit elstream.org/USC. For Annenberg Media, I'm Lorenzo Arce.
It's officially playoff season in the NBA. The LA Lakers gave a shock of a performance last night in their play-in game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I'm here to break down last night's game, the next steps for the Lakers franchise. The NBA play-in tournament started last night, with 8th-seed Atlanta Hawks defeating the 7th-seed Miami Heat. The Hawks are moving on to play the 2nd-seed Boston Celtics, while the Heat play the winner of the Bulls against the Raptors, and the victorious team plays the 1st-seed Bucks. In the second game last night, the Lakers defeated Timberwolves by a score of 108-102 in an overtime thriller at the Crypto.com Arena. The NBA play-in tournament was introduced in 2020 in the pandemic or bubble season. The current format of the tournament has the 9th seed team host the 10th seed for an elimination game, while the 7th and 8th seed play for a spot for the 7th seed. The loser of the 7th and 8th seed game plays the winner of the 9th and 10th game for a spot of the 8th seed. This happens in both the East and West conferences, as a preliminary to the playoff season. With last night's win, the LA Lakers officially clinched the 7th seed spot. The game was down to the wire for the Lakers, who took it to OT. Laker fans all across USC expressed their frustration last night, one of them being Daniel Quintero, a biomedical engineering major.
It was a pretty chaotic game, up and down. I mean, we were down 15 at one point. It just felt like it was nearly over. But I feel like that second half, especially that fourth quarter, we really decided to actually play our game. So yeah, satisfied with the result, but it was a lot of ups and downs.
The game's overtime aspect was caused by a foul by Lakers center Anthony Davis on the literal last second of the game. The foul gave the Timberwolves a chance for 3 free throws, which gave them the opportunity to lead the game into overtime.
If you look at the play where Davis fouled him, it was a foul. It was just a dumb play. Don't do that. He decided the backboard in the end. I was like, damn.
However, the Lakers ended up pulling through and closing the game with a 108-102 win. They will face off the Memphis Grizzlies on Sunday at noon in Memphis. Last night's win will be the first time all 4 California basketball teams will be in the NBA playoffs. For Annenberg Media, I'm Spencer Klein.
Is in the air with flowers, plants, and trees in full bloom just about everywhere. Ooh, the rhyme. But have you ever noticed that springtime on campus can be a bit, smelly when you walk by certain areas?
Well, there's an infamous tree that's been ravaging the noses of Trojans and Angelinos alike, for good or bad. A reporter, Aranza Pena Popo, went on the lookout for a unique tree that emits a certain kind of odor.
It's springtime. The flowers are blossoming. The birds are singing. But wait, what's that smell? I asked some students on campus in front of a crowd of trees in the USC Village.
The cum trees? I actually recently found out about it through Reddit, and I was like, what is these cum trees? I'm like, okay.
Oh yeah. I cannot stand these trees. I want them to all be chopped down so bad. That's basically bottom line. I hold my breath as I walk under them before I go to class.
Oh, cum trees season is back.
These white flowering trees dot many areas on USC's campus, leaving a light snow of petals on the ground. While they're really pretty, They can also be quite smelly. In fact, if you look around the web, there are tweets and posts from annoyed Angelinos who call them cum trees. They say the trees have a fishy or bleach-like smell. But of course, they have a more scientific name.
Yeah, those are fruitless pear trees, or botanically they're called Pyrus kawakami. They're actually from Asia.
This is Mike, USC's campus arborist. He was responsible for bringing the trees to USC's campus.
I'm kind of surprised that people think that they smell odd. I think they smell just like pear trees.
But most people don't agree with him. In fact, there's a reason why so many Angelinos are tortured by the smell every spring. The flowers of the evergreen pear emit two chemical compounds, trimethylene and dimethylene. These compounds are a derivative of ammonia. And what is also coincidentally in semen? Ammonia. As a result, Angelinos smell that stinky, bleachy smell that we associate with cum. But these trees are everywhere, not just on USC's campus. Why are they so popular? Nick Araya is a Master Board certified arborist from Tree Care LA, a tree maintenance company.
A landscaper will recommend them, then the property owner, whether that's the university or a homeowner, falls in love with the idea of those white flowers in the wintertime.
Landscapers will choose the trees for aesthetics, regardless of the smell. Nick takes me to a huddle of trees on USC's campus, in front of the Caruso Catholic Center. As cars speed past, we walk up to the snowy branches. Nick plucks a pear off. And then, something surprising happens.
And then a really cool thing, I'll reach up right here. And this is a pear that I just pulled off of it. And you can see that little bit of a speckly pattern that we are all used to. You can see that's the core of the pear inside there. And it smells, here, I'll hand it to you. You can smell it. It has like a sweet...
Whoa, yeah.
Smells like a pear. Does not taste like a pear. Do not eat it.
Don't worry, Trojans. You won't have to put up with the smell for much longer.
Ooh, so a few weeks. I'm going to say usually about a month of flowering. Here on campus, I'm guessing you've probably got another 3 weeks.
In the meantime, you might just have to hold your nose and enjoy the other pleasures of springtime. For Annenberg Media, I'm Aranta Peña-Popo.
Wow, that was an interesting story, wasn't it?
It was. I liked hearing all the sounds too. Just like
I'm surprised you put that pear in her face, but kudos to her.
So I have to ask you, Spencer, have you gotten a whiff of the infamous trees?
Sadly.
Me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, be sure to check them out if you haven't. Give it a little sniff.
And that's all we have time for on today's From Where We Are. The show is produced by Isa Johnson, Guilherme Guijelo, and me, Spencer Klein.
Derek Renfro composed our theme music. Isa Johnson directed. Tony Fajardo is our live stream manager. Thank you to our technical director, Sebastian Gruba, our digital producer, Graham Clark, and our broadcasting coach, Tina Rubio.
Be sure to check us out on YouTube at Annenberg Radio News and on Spotify.
And a special shout out to Chris for being on board today. Great job. From all of us at Annenberg Radio, wherever you are, we hope you'll join us again for From Where We Are.